I've seen so many solar teams and solar dealerships fail. I've seen them build and fall, build and fall, build, fall, and cease to exist. They are no more. They're not even in this industry. In fact, no one even remembers their name. And at one point, they were great. They were talented. They had all the skill set. In fact, I have built and fallen many times myself. And in this process, you slowly learn, painfully learn about all the pitfalls that this industry has to offer and what you must be clear about and avoid at all costs. And I've identified these key points, and I'm hoping that everyone can learn from my mistakes if you haven't already, because they say a wise man learns from others' mistakes, not his own. A dumb man goes through mistakes and has lessons but never learns them, and a smart man learns from his own mistakes. So some of these pitfalls that I've experienced is, number one, chasing the lowest red line. I've gone to a point where I would go to an installer and try to just hound them down because I could throw the weight of all my volume. Hey guys, we do 100 a month, 200 a month. You know, as a company, we were doing over 700 a month in several months. So when you have that kind of volume, you can almost ask for whatever you want. And in some cases, it's really bad for the installer, and they'll give it to you because they feel like they should. And what I've experienced in that process is nothing but pain. You have very short-term gain for long-term pain. If they give you that red line, congrats. It's going to be a short-lived success because it seems like the best thing in the world to you and to the leaders and to the sales reps. But then the adders start coming. The pay starts getting delayed. The pay never comes at all. The surprises just start to stack up till eventually everything can implode. Because if there is no profit, there is no mission. If the installer isn't cash flow positive, it's just a matter of time before you're the one that doesn't get paid. Right now, they're probably just not paying somebody else. So I've learned that lesson, and I've come to find there's actually specific red lines that you should get in every state and every market. And even those most efficient, effective, scaled companies should not cross certain margin lines. And if they do, it's just a house of cards. And so you don't want high red lines. You don't need high red lines. You need the right red lines. And I'm happy to jump on a call and tell you exactly what those red lines look like and the reason those red lines are the proper red lines. But just learn from my mistake. Don't nickel and dime. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to put other companies in a bad position and end up paying the ultimate price, which is losing your reps, losing your talent, and losing trust. There's nothing worse than all of the above. On top of being the red line chaser, the other things that I have found to be like key points to avoid is not checking the back office. So I would work with a ton of installers and I wouldn't go through all of their projects myself. In fact, I thought it was invasive, or they just wouldn't show me it. And I would ask for their timelines, and I'd ask for all the things that you feel like you should ask for, but I wouldn't ask for logins or a screen share of everything happening today in their operation inside of their CRM. And the reason this is so important, I've come to find, is because most of them are in utter chaos. They have no idea what they're doing. In fact, jobs get lost, dropped, or forgotten altogether. There's no timelines, there's no tracking, there's nothing really proper in place to make sure you can scale. I have come to find that my greatest weapon, now that we are an installer, is screen sharing and showing our CRM, showing all of our jobs, showing all the movement, showing all the timelines, showing how everything works. Because no one else is willing to do that, because it's chaos inside of their system. They don't have good systems. And so my next key point is to make sure you are shown everything that company has, everything that's happening today. And it doesn't matter if it's invasive. You deserve it if you're going to put your trust and business in them. You know, there's a saying, which is trust but verify. This is your chance to trust. Okay, you're great. Let's go verify that. And the last main point that I'm going to talk about today, and I can go over far more points. There's far more to this. We need a really in-depth talk to deep dive everything that needs to be brought to light. But the next main point is the upfront pay, the M1 pay, M2 pay, M3 pay, how it's positioned, how it works. So M1 pay is incredibly important for the setters. However, it can be super damaging for the company if they don't have fast turn times. And so if you work with a company that has slower turn times, they typically don't want to offer M1 pay because they're not able to capture back the margin or the upfront advances they've given you in a fast enough way to mitigate cash flow losses. That's why we have decided that M1 pay is not only important for the setters, but we also need to create a structure we're willing to take the losses if the job cancels to keep them paid. And so M1 pay is the lifeblood of the setters. No matter what anyone tells you, no matter what a company tries to state, that's the thing that's going to be the fuel for your organization. So you have to have fast installs and fast PTOs to continue to allow fast M1s. And then you must create a cash flow balance that is positive every single week as a company to be able to eat the losses of jobs canceling and not calling back the M1. And it's worth doing if you're efficient and you have the processes and you have the systems to do it, because you're able to keep the setters in rhythm. You don't take them off their game. They don't experience $1,000 in clawbacks, $2,000, $5,000, $6,000 in clawbacks. In fact, they never see a clawback. All they see from you is money coming in. They never see money getting pulled out. And so you need to nail down your M1 strategy, which is why we created a structure for $500 to $1,200 M1s that all align with what the company is looking to do. So your ability to grow to a higher M1 amount comes down to aligning with the company's interests. So sales and ops is cohesive. And if you can just mitigate and walk yourself through those 3 steps and take the time to really do an analysis, you can find the right company to build long-term with, because we got about 5 years. Got about 5 years guaranteed to go play all out, go get everything you came to get out of this industry. And there is no more time to hop around. There's no more time to go all in with the wrong companies. If you screw up another 1 or 2 times, like, you're probably gonna lose all the trust of all your people and you're out. Your people might be out, or at least they're probably gonna move somewhere else, because there's a saying, sales don't go away, they just go somewhere else. And you're either gonna be the person and leader to take them to the promised land, as they say, or you're gonna bring them to a fiery grave. But one way or another, you're gonna bring them somewhere. So make sure you do your due diligence, make sure you do the hard work, make sure you ask the hard questions. If you wanna jump on a call with me and ask me some of the hard questions and deep dive all these things with me, I'm happy to show you it on my end. I'm happy to talk through the way I think through it and the biggest pitfalls that I forgot to mention or haven't had a chance to mention on this call, because you don't wanna have to keep learning the same lesson. It gets too expensive.